special guest on. His name is Jaša Rebula. He's a young astrophotographer, as you will see him in a second, actually 15 years old from Slovenia. So anybody who's watching from Slovenia, make sure to get in contact with him. Of course, you're going to find an Instagram link down below. And he's been in astrophotography for about a year now. So Jaša, very happy to have you on today.
Thank you very much.
That's no problem, no problem. Listen, so kind of personal journey, can you talk about, being 15 years old and getting involved with astrophotography? Can you kind of, because I heard this story a little bit myself, but can you expand on that and kind of explain how did you get involved with the hobby?
Yes. So last year, me and my family started the vacations pretty good. We went on a seaside, and after that, me and my parents decided to go on like SPA. Um, so I was alone with my brother at home, and my teacher, physics teacher, looked out for me and asked me if I wanted to go on the star party with him. And of course, I said yes because I was interested in like moon and the stuff we see out there.
What's the name?
So
What's the name? Sorry, you mentioned Star Party.
yes,
That's on. Is it like the famous people coming in, or
no, it's
no?
like
I'm just joking.
our primary school star party actually of my city,
Yeah.
which is on the other side of the country actually. So I was there with my friend, and he was very tired the last night. We had 5 nights there. So he went to sleep earlier, and I was awake till the morning because I went up to the telescopes and joining a team. They were shooting Andromeda Galaxy with an 10-inch Newtonian telescope and stock DSLR. And when the sub came out, I was completely shocked what is out there. And after that, he reached to the other astrophotographers in Slovenia if anyone has any used telescopes or anything to get me into it because he knew that I have potential for it. So like 1 month or two after the start party ended, I got my first telescope, which is 8-inch Newtonian and EQ5 Go to Pro. And I also got my first DSLR ever, which is Canon 450D, stock of course. And I started shooting like everything that was out there, even if it was a crescent nebula or a normal galaxy like Andromeda. Yeah, that's how I started with astrophotography, and I cannot like nowadays I cannot live without it.
Got it. So that's very interesting because before that, I mean, you probably came across a few photos like on Instagram or just on social media, like with the cosmos and space photography. But did it do something for you before, or was there something is like, wow, that looks amazing, or there was like zero interest?
There was an interest because my grandfather had a like an old telescope at home. So he sometimes put it out and we watched moon and planets and all the other stuff that was out there, but we couldn't see anything because he didn't know what collimation is. So yeah, after that, um, no, actually before that, I wasn't really interested in astrophotography. It's about 3 years that I have a spirit of it, but the last year is like, wow, amazing.
Got it. So what would you say for the people who are watching and they're kind of your age, like 15, maybe 13 or up to like 18 years old? Like, what would you say to them about astrophotography? Like, is there a particular reason somebody should be involved with this?
Yeah, probably if they like space and if they want to do anything about it, if they want to photograph it, I'd keep in mind that they have to get a normal DSLR and any lens. They can start like on track, but after that, if they got interested, um, We can get a tracker like Star Adventure from Skywatcher and clearly start with Milky Way galaxy, like shooting our galaxy. And after that, other big deep sky objects like Andromeda with lens and a normal DSLR. And if they have money, they can get uh, like a small mount, like EQ5, HEQ5, anything like that, and then apochromatic refractor with guiding involved, and they can shoot anything they want with a stock DSLR.
Got it. So if we're going to talk about the budget, because for those young people who are watching the kind of your age, maybe they're still not making any income, themselves. So what will be kind of the budget that they should be aware of? Like how much money do you actually need to get this started? Like the minimum amount.
I got my DSLR 450D for around $17, $70. And a kit lens was with it involved, so $70 for untracked is pretty much it. But if they want even better photos, they have to probably get away around 200 to $300 for a tracker and probably some other lens because kit lens aren't as good for astrophotography because of chromatic aberrations, and probably like Sigma or Rokinon lens are pretty good for it. So that would be around $800. Um, but I know a lot of people that does amazing work with kit lens and stock DSLR without even tracking. So also editing pictures at the end is very important because
Yep.
if you have bad data in good processing, you can clearly make a good image out of it. Also, you can get a good image out of it if you have good processing skills and good data. But if you don't know how to process good and don't have good data, you'll probably be like me at the beginning and throw all this data you got away.
Mm. Okay, so if we're gonna talk about the processing and kind of the stacking process and like what type of softwares and do you use that you're coming up with this amazing photos at the moment, like, and how much actually does like how much their work is involved, like how many hours do it actually take for you to come up with something like let's say you know like the last photo that I'm looking at here on Instagram, which is
Impressive.
yeah, which is the let me see what is the last photo, like Veil Nebula,
Yeah,
like
this
the
one was from the this one actually isn't mine, it's just my process. But my last photo in Instagram is the Crescent Nebula that I
Crescent
shot.
Nebula. Okay.
So first of all, I got around 4 hours of exposure with an ASI 294 MC Pro and an enhanced filter. Um, then each sub was long around, I think it was 3 minutes, and at unity gain. And then I got into stacking, um, which is Deep Sky Stacker, and I like stack all these 40 or 80 photos that was 4 hours of exposure. I stacked into one image. So the data is actually multiplied every time I add an image. Also, I added dark frames, which are the same exposure as light ones, and they have to be like protected from any light. So they're actually that's why they're called dark frames. And I could also involve the flat frames and bias frames, but I didn't because I didn't have any time to do them. Also, I moved my camera, which was a problem about it. So then I stacked these 4 hours of exposure and put all it in PixInsight, which is a processing program, which is specific for astrophotography users, actually for astrophotography people that can process astro stuff um, easily and have a lot more like how do you say it? A lot more stuff to do with an image than Photoshop. But I also use Photoshop then because it has a good thing in it, which is camera raw filter, where I can adjust the colors, adjust the noise, adjust the brightness of the background and the brightness of Nebula and all the stuff. So I used Photoshop and PictionSite for it, and also at the end because my PC and phone screens aren't like in the same brightness and contrast. I had to process it a little in Lightroom Mobile, and then I posted it on Instagram.
Here you go. So if you could actually, because with the naked eye, the way you looked, I mean, through the telescope, does it look similar like that, or after the processing, it's just completely different?
Depends. In globular clusters, you can see a bit of fuzziness in there because they're pretty bright, a lot of stars in one place. But after you process it, you see it is like twice the size big as you see it in like an eyepiece,
Mhm.
because a lot of small stars and actually dimmer, as you can see with the eye, are involved in an actually field of view that you're looking at. So after you process, the image is just becomes 100 times better. That's for sure.
Okay,
And
okay.
then for like emission nebulae that our eye can't see, um, I looked once at Crescent Nebula, and I'm not even sure if I was looking at it because it's very dim. And as you said, like my last photo was was the Crescent Nebula, and with 4 hours of exposure, I think I got a pretty decent job on it.
Okay. Yeah, well, I would say at least pretty decent job. I mean, it's a great, great photo, definitely. And you can find the photo in Rebula underscore Astrophoto on the Instagram. So you make sure you follow Jaša and the work that he's doing. So, and the question that I wanted to ask you again, you came up like you have 115 posts, and I'm sure you have more maybe in the computer somewhere in the drive hidden away a little bit. But like, what are the future projects when it comes to astrophotography? What are the future projects that you're looking forward to?
Like in imaging
Yeah,
or buying new stuff.
yeah, imaging or buying new stuff, either those.
So at imaging, I was thinking of doing a mosaic of lilies with my new DSLR, which is attached on this scope that I'll be using tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Also, um, I'll try to do my first star trails with Nikon D7050, 750, and my I think I'll try to also do a mosaic on tadpoles and flaming star nebula with this scope that I just showed.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when it comes to astrophotography and buying stuff, it never ends. That's for sure. But I think that the next big stuff, like the most expensive stuff that I'll buy, will be a new mount because my EQ5 is loud and a lot of people, like my neighbors, can sleep uh, because of it. So EQ6R is probably my next buying project.
Got it. Got it. Good, good, good. So expect more, even better quality, greater stuff coming up in the near future on his social media channels.
Probably.
So one thing that I wanted to ask you again, 115 posts, coming back to that, to the Instagram and all the photos, the work that you did, kind of what would you consider like the most significant or the biggest project that you worked on so far?
It's probably the image of Bubble Nebula and involved with Claw Nebula and the Northern Trifid Nebula, which consists of 17 hours of exposure. I shot it through 4 nights, and I think this is the longest project I ever have.
Okay, yeah, and I'm looking at the photo, by the way. Yeah, if people see me looking down, I'm just looking at the photo, so which is awesome. So yeah, again, beautiful. So, uh, what is your take currently? You know, because I mean, people talked about this kind of topic for long enough. You know, about the kind of extraterrestrial, you know, life in other planets. So, what is your personal take? Being, you know, young guy still, you know, searching the answers. So, what do you think? Is there something happening out there?
Oof, this is a tough one.
Just your
I'd,
personal opinion.
yes, I'd say that there definitely is like cell, like small organisms probably living in Venus or Mars within in its clouds.
Mhm.
Um, but for sure, our space is huge, and we know just a little of it. So that's for sure something out there. Also watching or exploring more as we do, like if there's anything else in space than us. So I think there is something out there other than us,
Okay.
which
Okay.
can be scary.
Okay, thanks for sharing your opinion. So again, what is the question? Because I'm sure we get a few questions like through social media, through Instagram, and that's the way we connected. So again, make sure to go and connect with him because he's accessible and he can give you some time, which is like we're doing the podcast, which I really appreciate it because I think a lot of people, same as like your age or younger, older, will get inspired by your personal passion and the work that you're working on, and it's beautiful. So I mean, you're making an impact on people, at the same time. So,
Mhm.
but what is your kind of thing that people don't talk about a lot? Because you get these questions about the telescope, the mount, the softwares. Is there something in other planets? But what is the thing people don't ask, but you're like, oh, you should definitely know about that. Do you have something to share?
Um, yes, actually no, because I never have questions like that. I never get them. Um, but
So you
probably,
you you guys should start asking him questions then. Make sure to ask a bunch after this episode.
yeah, probably the craziest one that I ever heard was, do I have to take dark frames?
So what was
Because
that again?
um, if they can, if they have to do like dark frames for astrophotography, that was the craziest question that I ever got. Because he uses the same camera as I do, and this camera has some bad AMP glow, which is like normal for every single camera of DWO ASI 294 MC Pro. Um, and they have to do darks to eliminate the AMP glow out of it. You
So
know.
the question for you is like, do you keep do you look what's happening in the space technology in the space industry overall when it comes to the technology points? Again, there's people talking about the SpaceX, about NASA. So do you follow any of these news?
Yes, I do, and I'm probably the most excited for James Webb's telescope
Yes.
going out.
Yeah.
Um, Also, I don't I don't really like Starlink because it's raining astrophotography, but it's kind of a good thing um, for people that don't that um, for better connection through the whole world, to better um, so the information runs faster. Um, and I think it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. Like bad thing for astrophotographers and good thing for the whole world outside.
Mm.
I'm very interested because it's in Slovenia. We have launched a few satellites already, I
Okay.
think, and I don't really remember what's their work to do out in space, but I'll definitely check it out once they're done, and yeah, that's probably it.
So is Slovenia like what's so does Slovenia has a space agency also?
Um, I'm not sure. Probably they work with Hungarians or Italians or something like that, because
Okay.
we're a small country and we definitely need help with such a big project for
Yeah.
setting a satellite in space. So I'm sure they get help from other big countries in our
Hmm.
like in our um, um,
Yeah. So yeah, it makes sense. So what about kind of the the communities? Is there a big kind of astrophotographer clubs around Slovenia? So people who are watching maybe from your country, they can be aware of. Is there some Facebook groups or just physical places that they can go and become a members of?
yeah, there's a lot because Slovenia is very small, so we probably know each other already. That I like all the astrophotographers from Slovenia. Um, I've met a lot of them, and also I know one guy from Slovenia that also worked for ZW ASI cameras, and he also was like manager for Go Chile project. Slovenia just set a telescope in Chile.
Okay.
Um, and we also have groups on Facebook and a lot of meetings out there. Um,
Can you share the name of the group so people can be aware of where it is?
um, I mean, it's Astronomia in Astrofotografia. It's in Slovenian language, but
Hmm.
I don't think they'll accept the name because it's like only Slovenian group.
Well, it's for Slovenian people. I'm just
Yeah, yeah.
saying if somebody who's, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. Also we have Astra. Like if they type in Facebook Astra, they have another group there. And for our star party group, we have Astronomski tabor Šaloci, like astronomical club Šaloci. And I don't have any groups on Instagram because I know only one guy that is shooting, actually two that are shooting astrophotography, and they're on Instagram also.
Hmm.
So we don't have any groups out on Instagram, and that's probably out of social media that I know about.
Good, good. So again, if you're from Slovenia, you're watching this episode, make sure to get in contact with Jaša or become part of these groups, and I'm sure you're gonna get a lot of great insights and free information, free resources, so we can kind of start your path towards astrophotography. So when it comes to kind of educating yourself, and again, like you've been lucky enough that you came across your teacher who kind of gave you the entry point into astrophotography, but when it comes to your personal education, like what would you recommend for people who are starting out? Is there some sort of a books, YouTube videos, like what type of ways people can consume information?
There are a lot of good astrophotographers that are vlogging, like they making videos on YouTube.
Can you share
Um,
some of those?
yeah, this is Astro Backyard. This is Trevor Jones.
Okay.
Then Chuck's Astrophotography. This is Chuck. Um, then we know Dylan and Donald from Australia, and Astro Biscuit, Lazy Geek, um, Astro Stacy also, Kalena's Astrophoto. There's actually a lot. If you type in Astro in YouTube, you'll have a lot of videos about all these amazing astrophotographers.
Yeah.
That's for sure. And also they have like encyclopedia. It's like about space. Um, I've learned a lot of stuff out there, also about deep space, about planets, about our solar system, about everything that I know already. And yeah, so for astrophotography, the channels that I mentioned before, and for only astronomy, I think there's a lot of videos on YouTube that you can probably look and
And is that the way that you prefer, like, because you're a different generation. I think you're called the Z generation, so
yeah.
so you're a different generation, and now you're growing up in an age of technology and digital industry.
Hmm.
So, and that's the way that you would prefer, to consume information on YouTube and like through these resources, or you still read books?
I do both because when you have like a YouTube video and there's in like a case where I was searching for what is AMP glow. There wasn't much videos about it,
Mhm,
so I had to like check a book or check some stuff on Google.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, I found most of the information on
Got it. Yeah.
useful information, of course.
Got it. So again, here you go. This is the answer. The new generation doesn't read books a lot. Siri, can you help? Yeah, that's the way to go about, right?
Yeah.
It makes sense. It's now it's easier than ever to find answers to the questions that you have,
Hmm.
even like it's through YouTube. And again, all the people that you mentioned, and I'm sure there's many more who putting out the content on a daily basis, weekly basis, and they're providing all these free information, kind of steps. And I'm sure you learn a lot, from like I kept hearing the Trevor's name, which like he's probably a top guy on a
Hmm.
YouTube who teaches people astrophotography. So again, make sure to go and follow him, and a lot of different people. So that is really cool. So again, one thing that I wanted to ask you is it the Instagram that people can get in contact with you, or do you have something else on social media?
I only have Instagram. I also have a YouTube channel, which is um not very good because I don't really have time for it. Um, so I think only Instagram is the social media that I'm available in on,
Okay, got it. So of course we're gonna
and
put
of course Facebook.
and Facebook, of course.
So yeah, for Messenger or other stuff if you want to ask, of course.
Perfect. So again, we're gonna include all these links as always down below, so we can go and make sure to get in contact with Yasha. If you're 25, if you 15, if you're 35, I mean, there's something every time to learn from everybody. Because look, even though like the age is not the problem here, because like if you're gonna just take a look at the work that he's doing, like on Instagram, you gotta find out, man, there's something to learn from this young man. So make sure to get in contact with him and ask the questions, or just become friends on social media. So Yasha, I want to say a big thank you, for being today on the show. I mean, I had a good time, and it's been a great fun to kind of learn about the journey, how you're learning astrophotography, and the steps that you take, and the way you consume information, and the future projects that you're looking forward to in the future too. So thank you for that.
Thank you very much for reaching out to me.
That's no problem. So again, guys and girls, before we're gonna go, just one thing that I wanted to ask you: if you shared this episode with a friend of yours, who you think will this information would be valuable, and I'm sure that person is gonna find a lot of great valuable tips and strategies, so he can or she can implement and start the journey in astrophotography. So make sure to do that. Yasha, again, thank you for being on the show, and as always, I will see you in the next episode. Keep exploring.